Hey, thanks for stopping by the OC, guys. I get a lot of questions on, what sort of editing software I use, what computer I use, how do I make a movie, and so forth. And I'm not really an advocate of any one platform or software for that matter. So this tutorial is basically going to show you how you can make a movie, a quick movie using the tools that you have at hand. In this case, we're going to use Windows Movie Maker, and that's something that usually comes packaged free with your Windows installation. I believe that they started giving that out with XP, and it comes with Vista, and it'll probably come with Windows 7. So basically, what you want to do when you're making your movies is to keep a couple things in mind. There's a few things that people do that are common mistakes when they're making films. One is they make them way too long. So if you're going to show your family vacation and upload it to YouTube and show grandma, you still don't want to bore grandma to death. So she's got a short enough life as it is right now, so you want to make these things as short as possible, but as entertaining as possible. So, with that said, I will stop talking and actually show you how to make a very quick video using Windows Movie Maker. So basically what you want to do is when you're starting off is that you want to import your files. So I've already done this, but what you would do if you hadn't done this already is there's a couple ways that you could do it. You can go to File and you can import from your camera if your footage is still on your camera, or you could go to this little button here and import media. And if you've already imported from your camera to a folder, try to remember what folder you've imported into. In this case, I imported into what I called After Effects, and you'll see why in a second. So that's basically where the footage is, and then basically you would click on each little icon that you see in front of you, and then it would import onto the desktop area or the workspace area. And then the next thing that you would do is you would determine whether or not you wanted to start off with the title. I usually do just to give people an idea of what you're going to show them. So for Windows Movie Maker, on the left-hand side under the Edit little tab here, you could go down to Titles and Credits and put title at the beginning. So the title for this is going to be When It's Time to Move. Okay, and then you just click Add Title. And you can change this however you want. You can change the fonts and whatever. I'm not going to mess with that, but you could feel free to do that on your own with your own video footage. And over here, there's a little play button so that you could actually see how it plays itself out. So what you would do is you'd click play, and it will show you the title, which is called When It's Time to Move. And it gets to the end of that, and it stops. And then you could choose the clip that you wanted to put in there. Now remember, you don't want your clips to be too long. I mean, too long really does start to get boring. And a lot of people, when they go on vacation or they want to show pictures of their newborn baby or whatnot, sometimes they leave a 15-minute clip of the baby just sitting there, or a picture of a bird, and it's fascinating at the time, but it's really boring. So you want to avoid things like that. So my clips are basically about 10 seconds. You could do longer than 10 seconds, but the rule of thumb is shorter the better. So I will drop a clip down, and it'll show you how long it's going to play on the timeline. And then you could, after each clip, you could put a transition, or you could put another title down if you wanted to. It just depends on what you're trying to go for. So I usually like to put transitions between my shots, and the reason why is that it just gives your eye something pleasing to look at as it's going between clips. Now, Windows Movie Maker and all the other higher-end video editing suites that are out there will give you like a plethora of different transitions. And I would say basically basic fades and cuts are the best way to cut between your scenes. I mean, nothing really says amateur more than, you know, your bars doing the transition or these little weird diagonals going in and out. I know it looks cool when you're first starting out, but trust me, it gets old real quick, and it's really not that cool. Really, it starts to really show that you are an amateur. And if you're serious about this, even if you're just serious about showing it to your family, you just don't want too many effects. I mean, unless the effects were the point, and it enhances your footage, I'd say go for it. But if it's all it's going to do is detract, and they're just going to see these funny little boxes swinging in and out, I would say avoid that and just go with the quick fade or a quick cut. So in this case, I'm going to do a fade in between if I can do that. I guess that would probably be how I would do that. And it'll show you right there how the fade goes. And that would be how you would do that. Okay. So then you go back up to your video. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, go back to your imported media. No, that's not right. And then you would take the next clip that you wanted to put in there, and in this case I will put Paul on fire because I will be on fire shortly, and then I will throw in exploded, and then basically I'm done. It's about 30 seconds, the 30-second video. And then you want to put title sequences, you can, or you could put just credits or put the end or something. It's all up to you on what you want to do, but sometimes it's also cool to just let people know that they're done and it doesn't just end or leave people hanging. So that's basically what you would do. It's very simple to throw stuff down on a timeline, and then when you're done you could just basically play it out. And Windows Movie Maker has this little timeline player on the right hand side that will show you what your video will ultimately look like. So it always gives you a preview, if you will, of what it's going to look like. So I'm going to throw credits on this, and then I'm going to show you, let's see, credits at the end. So we'll put that and and then add that title, and it shows that at the end, and that will be it, and the movie is over. So when you're ready, you could either publish it through here, which will allow you a bunch of different ways to do this. Basically, you could either just save it as a file on your computer, you could publish it to DVD, you could email it as an attachment, or you could put it back on your video camera. It really just depends on what you need to do. In this case, I'm just going to put this computer, and click next, and then I'm going to name it. I'm going to call it When It's Time to Move. And then basically this is going to take this file and convert it into basically what they call a Windows media file, and it'll go into the video section. So in case you want to know, you have to remember that where you put it. You could choose whatever folder you want to do. You could, if you don't want to save it there and you have a special folder, you could go somewhere else. You want to put it on your desktop, for instance, you could do that. And then click next, and then I would say go best quality if that's what ultimately you want it to look as good as it's going to look. So unless you're trying to compress it and make it a smaller kind of file that maybe you want to put on your phone to show your friends, or you want to put it on some other mobile device. So there's a way to do that as well. So I'm going to say best possible, best quality for video playback on my computer, hit publish, and then basically it'll take what says 60, 50 seconds. It does it pretty quick, depending on the processor speed of your computer. Generally speaking, this will be done in under a minute. So as you can see already, it's going at about, what, 40%, 45%. So just like I said, you know, filmmaking is really more about, you know, your vision than your tools. I mean, you can use anything at your, you know, disposal. Whatever you have, I would use that first, especially if you're starting out, and then you could branch out into more robust editing suites. So this is finished. Hit finish, and it will open up in, let's see, it's going to open up in Windows Media Player. So here is our 30-second video. The end. So there you go. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the quick tutorial, and come back often, and we're sure to try to entertain you and give you practical ways to use what you have at your disposal. Take it easy.